Hello everyone, this is KenBroTech from KenBroTech. Today's tutorial, we are going to build this interface using Django and Chart.js. So basically, this is going to help us visualize data as far as building more or less a dashboard is concerned. So what I have over here is some data that has already been inputted into the web application. I can add more data over here because I can add the name of the country and the population over here. So right at the back of this, I can add Togo. Now bear in mind, we don't have Togo listed in here, and the population of Togo is approximately 8 million people. So when I click on add, Togo has been added over here. You can do same for Russia. So I type in Russia for the name of the country. The population of Russia is approximately 144 million people. So when I click on add, you see that we have Russia listed over here. So in order to get started, you need to have Django and Python installed on your system. Now I have other videos I'll link up in the description below on how to download and install Python. To install Django, you need to run in inside your terminal. I'm using VS Code over here. You need to run pip install and you type in Django. Now when I press on enter, I already have Django installed, so it's definitely going to tell me I've met all the requirements. So as you can see, requirements already satisfied as far as the Django installation is concerned. So now I'm going to create a Django project. So I'll type in Django admin start project and I'll give it a name. So I'll say the data visual. That's the name of the project I'm going to have. And then also bear in mind, I'm creating everything on my desktop. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on file and click on open folder and go into my desktop. And here I have data visual folder over here. So I'll click on it and select folder. And this will open up in VS Code. Alright, so in order to get started, I'm going to open up the terminal and we are going to create an app. So in order to create an app, you are going to say Python manage.py start app and we give it a name, and in this case we are going to call it dashboard. So dashboard is going to be the name of the app. Now pay attention to this side over here, at least for beginners. We are going to see that the app folder is going to be created. So when I press enter, we are going to see the dashboard created over here. Now one of the first things you would want to do is to come into the project folder, which is the data visual, go to settings.py and go and register the application or the app. So I'll come in here and inside installed apps, I'll type in dashboard.apps. Then capital dashboard config, and config is also capital. Alright, so this is going to register our application into the project. Then also let's go to urls.py and over here I'm going to import include, and I'm going to say path, and this is going to be our base path, so we are going to leave it empty, and I'll say include. And what do I want to include? I want to include the dashboard URLs as far as the routing is concerned. So I'll put in dashboard.urls. We don't have that created yet, but then we are going to do that very soon. Then I'll put in a trailing comma over here. So when I come into the dashboard application, I'm just going to create a urls.py. So this is going to handle the internal routing over here for me. Then also I'd want to have my template folder, because Django, as far as architecture is concerned, deals with model views and templates. So in order to get my template folder, I'll click outside. Normally this is how I prefer to do things. I'll click outside the base or the root directory and I'll create a folder called this templates. I have templates over here. Then I need to inform my Django project that yes, I have a folder I want to link up So normally this is what I do. I come here and come and copy this. So this is going to help me put out the link. So I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to change this to template. At least template is the name of the folder I have over here. So by doing this, then I've informed Django that yes, I have a template folder over here, and that's where I'm going to put all my template files there. So the next thing I'm going to do is to obviously create some templates. So to work my way around it, this is how I normally prefer doing things, in more or less an organized structure. So I'll click on the template folder and create another folder I'm going to call partials. I'm going to put all my partial files in there. So inside partials, I'm going to have base.html. Then I'm also going to have another I'm going to call nav.html. All right, then I'll click on the templates so that I get out of the partials. So I'm going to click on the template folder, and inside it I'm going to have another folder, and I'm going to name this folder dashboard. Okay, so dashboard is actually going to be like the app folder. Okay, so I'm going to have all the templates I want to render in this app, in this particular dashboard folder. And what I want to have here is index.html. All right, so with this done, I can now start linking things up. But before I do anything, let's try and work things out. So in order to get started, I think I would need to go to getbootstrap.com, because we use Bootstrap in our styling. So I'll come in here, I'll leave the link in the description below. I'll click on all releases, and at the time of this recording, the newest version is version 5. However, it is at a beta stage, so it is not too stable. So you definitely have to more or less downgrade a little, but then almost everything you need will be found in the version 4.6. So I'll come down here and grab the starter templates. So I'll copy this, and when I come here into my base.html, I'll paste it here. Now this base.html is going to handle everything. It is going to be the base for our entire project. And as far as our title go, I'm going to put out some block over here. So I'll call this block title, and I'll end it over here. So I'll do end block. Then inside here, I am going to include my nav.html. So I'll say include, and the nav.html where my structure is inside the partials folder. So what I need to do is I need to bring in partials, then /, now do nav.html. So outside this, I'm going to call the container class, the Bootstrap container class. Then inside the container, that is where I'm going to have my block contents for the index page. So I'm going to say block contents. Then I'll end block over here. So I'll save this, and what I need to do to get my nav is to actually come here inside Bootstrap, go to I think components, then inside components I need to come to Navbar. So this is Navbar, and I have a template over here. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Then I think in order to see things properly, as you can see, the background over here is light. So I don't want it light, I want it dark instead. So I'm going to change this to dark and change the background to dark as well. All right, so this is sorted out. Then what I need to do is I need to extend this. So inside index.html, I'm going to say extends, and this will extend from partials /base.html. So by doing this, we've actually extended every bit of code over here and here as well into index.html. Then I'm also going to put out a block title, and I'll say dashboard. And I'll end things up over here. So I have end block. Then finally, my block contents can come in here. Then I'll say end block. All right, so I'm done with my templates. Now what I want to do is to go into my views and start putting out some logic over here. So I'm going to have I'm going to use function based view. So I'm going to say index, and index is going to take in a request, and this request is going to return render, and I'll pass in a request over here as a first parameter. Then the name of the template. The name of the template is going to be found in dashboard /index.html. Now this dashboard is essentially the name of the subfolder within templates, and we are grabbing index.html. Then what I want to do is I also want to pass in a context I'm going to work on later. So I'll open the context dictionary app, and I'm going to pass it over here. So now that we have this, we need to provide some routing for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the apps or the dashboard URL. I'm going to say from Django.urls. I want to import path. Then I'm also going to import the view over here. So I'm going to say from the current folder, I'm going to import views. Then what I can do is I can do URL patterns, and this is going to be a list. So I can have path, and my first path is going to be the root path, and I'm going to call the view.index. Then I'm also going to give it a name over here for the routing. So as far as the name is concerned, I'll give it dashboard-index. And I think this is just about it. So I'm going to open things up over here and run the application. So I'll type in python manage.py run server. All right, so I'm going to click on control and click on the link. All right, so we don't have any problems. Everything is running perfectly. So now I move on to other important things. Now what I want to do is I want to come into the Navbar over here and do some changes. So as you can see, with the final this is what you are working on, and I'm running it on the default port 8000. This is what is already worked on. This is running on port 8001, as you can see over here. So there are two different applications running. Now as you can see, I have cleared the rest of the items over here, and I've put in this in some kind of a container. So that's essentially what I want to achieve over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out the container class over here, and I'll just clear this and wrap it up over here. So when I save this and come back and come and refresh, this is what I want. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear everything over here, and it is as simple. So I'm just going to grab everything, and I think, yeah. All right, so I think I'm done clearing what I need to clear. So when I save this and come back, yeah, I think I need to clear the link as well. And I got rid of the UL tag, so let me bring it here. Alright, so I think this is just about it as far as clearing is concerned. Now the next thing I need to do is to work out on how to include the Chart.js. Now before I do that, there are some few things happening over here, and that's the partition I have over here. Now as you can see, I have this area and what is left over here, and I'm going to call the row, and inside this row I'm going to have a call and MD4, and inside call MD4 I'm going to have border, and the border is going to have a padding of 3 all around its 4 corners. Then I'm going to have an h4 tag, and I'm going to say add data. Then I'm going to put out a horizontal row over here. Then my form is going to come in here, so I'm going to have a form, and I'm going to clear this and say the method will be equal to post. Then I'll pass in a form as far as the design is concerned. And finally I'm going to have a button over here. So if I save this and come back here, this is what I have, but then this is so stuck to the top, so I need to give it some kind of margin over here. So I'll give it a margin top of 3, and let's say a padding top of 3. So when I refresh, okay, I have what I have. Then finally I'm going to give it a shadow too, so I can put out the bootstrap shadow class over here. And when I refresh, yeah, it is almost as I have it over here. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put out the graph over here, and in order to do so, we are going to go to the Chart.js website. So here we are, and there are some documentations over here. It will do us a lot of good to read them, but then we are quickly going to jump in, and we are going to click on this button, get started. So the installation process is what we have over here. There are a couple of ways we can install it, but then we are going to use the Chart.js CDN. So I'm going to click on this link, and it's going to lead us over here. So there are some few things over here, but then what we need is the Chart.js or the chart.main.js. So this is a minified version, and I'm going to click on this and copy the HTML. So I have it copied. Now I'm going to go into my index.html, sorry, my base.html actually, and I'm going to put the CDN over here. I'm going to put a comment, and I'll say Chart.js CDN. Alright, then I'll paste it as we have it over here. So this is the first step. Now the next step is to come back over here, and we can have this starter templates. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab everything over here. So I'm dragging along everything. So I'll copy from the beginning of the Canva HTML tag over here. I copy the script and everything in there. So I'll do a copy over here, and I'll go into my index.html. Now within my index.html, this is one side of my block. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have another for an MD8 to have the other side, and it is in here that I'm going to paste my charts. So what I have here is actually going to reflect. So when I come back and come and refresh, now you have this chart over here. Now it kind of looks too long, so there are some few things we can do. We can come in here and perhaps maybe change the height. Okay, we can change the height to about 300, and when I save, come back to come and refresh. All right, I think the height is as good as we may want it. Okay, so now that we have this, now bear in mind we kind of have some data over here, but then this is static data. This is what has been provided over here. So we have the labels as being the colors, and the data is what is being displayed over here, and that's actually what is being shown over here. Now we want to add our own data and make this responsive and dynamic. So in order to do so, we definitely have to create our models so that we can save something in our database. And right over here, I'm going to say class, and I'll say country data, and we are going to inherit from models.model. So the first attribute you are going to have is the name of the country. So I'm going to say country, and this is going to be models and a char field or a character field, and I'm going to specify a max length over here, and for max length we are saying 100 characters. Now what I want next is the population. So for population is going to be models dots, and I'll say integer field, and we're going to leave it blank over here. Then what I want to have is a string representation of everything we've done over here. So I'm going to say def _str _, and I'll pass in self. So this is going to return, and I'm going to use a formatted string over here. So the first thing I'm going to put out is I'm going to say self.country, and I'll put in a dash, and I'll also pass in self.population. All right, so I have this string representation. Now we can proceed to migrate our model. So I'm going to open a new terminal, and I'm going to say python manage.py make migrations. So I'll hit on enter, and it says create model country data. Yes, that's essentially what we want. So we can do python manage.py, then I'm going to say migrate. So now we have everything migrated over here. Now the next thing we need to do is to create a super user. So I'm going to say python manage.py create super user. Now when I click on enter, the name I'm going to use is admin, and the email address is going to be admin@gmail.com, and the password, I'm typing in a password, but for obvious reasons you are not going to see. I'll type it again, and it says the password is too short there, but then for this purpose we are going to accept this. So we have our model in here. What I need to do is to go to inside the dashboard app folder, coming into admin, and register our model so that you can see it on administration panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say from the current models I want to import, and the model I just created was country data. So I'm going to say admin.site.register, and what do I want to register? I want to register this country data model. So I'll save this, and when I come back here and I'll go to /admin, I can now log in as an admin, and so this is what I have over here. Now as you can see, we have this showing up over here, country datas. Okay, it doesn't look too pleasant for my liking, and that's by default how Django is going to present it to us. But then we can change it ourselves. So what we can do is I can specify a class meta, and I'm going to say variables underscore name underscore plural, and here I can specify any name I want. So I'll say country population data. Now when I save this and come back over here, I have country population data over here. Now what I always want to do to be on the safer side is to come back and migrate so that the changes are taken care of. So as you can see, this has been migrated, and if I come to migrate, it says everything is now okay, right? So when I refresh, everything is cool. Now when I click on this, I can start adding in data over here. So the first country I'm going to say is Ghana, my home country, and our population is about 30 million people. I'll click on save. Then I'm also going to type in the United Kingdom, colonial masters, and their population is around 66 million. Then the USA, the population is around 328 million, I guess. Then I would want to add in our very good Nigerian neighbors, and we have an approximation of 201 million. All right, so this is what we have so far. When we come here, this is the data we just inputted. Now this data is not showing up over here yet because we haven't done anything for it to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our views, because that's where we put in our logic, and I'm going to bring in our model over here. So the models, I want to import the model we just created, which is a country data. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a variable called data over here, and data is going to be equal to the country data model.objects.all, and inside my context dictionary over here, I'm passing data as the key, and the value pair is going to be data. So I can have access to this objects collected inside the country data model, and now I have it here, so I can make use of it in the index, and the index is where we have our graph. So definitely we can fish out some few things over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this. Okay, so we are not going to have any data over here. So when I clear this and when I refresh, you can see that everything is going down. All right, then I'm also going to clear the data as well, because we are not just going to use static data, but then we are going to collect data from our database. So as you can see, we have a clean slate over here. Now as far as the documentation of Chart.js is concerned, we only perhaps maybe need two most important things, and that's the labels and the data you want to pass. And as far as application goes, the labels are going to be the countries, and the data is going to be the population. So then how then do we get it? And we just have to write in a for loop to grab the items over here. So what I can do is I can put in this over here, and I'll say for data in data, for data in data, then I'm going to end for. So I'll say end for. Then what we need to pass in here is a string. Okay, it's supposed to be a string, but then it's going to be data. So we are going to say data dots, and we can have access to country. So when you do this and we come here and come and refresh, well, we are not going to see it's, I mean, it is vanishing. So what we can do is we can click on inspect and come and check exactly what is happening over here. So this is where we have our scripts, and as you can see, we have the countries displaying over here. So as you can see, we have Ghana, United Kingdom, USA, and Nigeria, but then they are not displaying the way they should. Okay, and the way they should is, this is supposed to be a list, but we don't have any commas over here. So a way to fix it is to just bring a comma over here. So after our data, we bring a comma so that the looping will take recognition of that comma over there. So when I save that and come back here, now when I refresh, now we can see that we have the labels displaying over here. Okay, we have the labels displaying over here. So the next thing to do is to put in the logic for our data. So for the data, we're also going to put out a for loop over here. So I'm going to say for data in data, then I'm going to end, I'm going to say end for. Then because we want integer values, we are actually going to make this data dot population. Then once again, we also need to pass in the comma over here. So when I come back and come and refresh, I have this population over here. Now there are some few things you can do as far as the styling is concerned. Okay, so as you can see, there's some kind of opacity as far as the bar charts are concerned, and that's simply because of some attributes you have over here. So for instance, you have background color and the border color, and for background color, this is where the opacity is taken care of. So this is about 20% of the color. So we can do 1, which is going to be 100%, so it's going to be very thick. And let's change everything to 1 over here. And when I save this and come back to come and refresh, we see that we have our colors displaying properly over here. Now, one other thing I also need to mention is the fact that we have the type of the graph we are displaying over here. There are a couple more options that you can explore. So we can have, for instance, the pie. So this is going to display a pie chart. So when I refresh, this is exactly what we have as far as the pie is concerned. Now you can also have a line graph. So when you type in line and come back here and come and refresh, we have this line graph over here, and it is a representation of this data that we have in a database. So the documentation pretty much has everything over here. When you come down to the charts, you can see that we have line, we have bar, we have radar, we have donut and pie, we have polar area, bubble, and a bunch of other options over here. But in this particular instance, we are just going to use the bar graph. So I'm going to change this back to bar. So I'll save this and come back to come and refresh. All right, so now the next thing we are going to look at is adding data from the front end as we have it in our final project. Okay, so in order to put out this, let me come to my views. We are going to put out some logic over here, but before then, let's create a model form. So inside my dashboard app, I'm going to create in a Python file. I'm going to call this forms.py. So forms.py, I'm going to say from Django, I want to import, and I'm going to import forms. Then I also want to import the model. So I'll say from the models, I want to import country data. Then what I'm going to say is I'm going to say class, then I'll say country data form. Then what I can do over here is I'm going to inherit from forms.model form. Then I need to specify a class meta, and inside class meta I'm going to have the model attribute. So I mean, this actually answers the question, which model do I want to create the form for, and the model is going to be country data, and the fields I want in there is, I need everything over there. So I'm going to say double underscore or double underscore in a string format. So this is going to be my model form. Then I need to come into my views, and I'm going to say from the current forms I want to import, I'm going to import country data form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say if request.method is equal to post. And where am I getting this request.method from? Now remember, we are going to post data into our database. So when I come in here, as far as this is concerned, this is where I'm going to have this form. Okay, so if the request.method is equal to post, then there are some few things I would want to look at. Then I'm going to say form is equal to country data form, and I'm going to pass in the request.post. I'm going to say if form dot is, I'm going to say underscore valid. Then if it is valid, then you are going to say form dot save. Okay, so you're only going to save if it is valid. Then if not, you are going to put out an else statement over here. So the else statement is simply going to be our country data form being empty like this. Okay, so this is saying that the form is equal to the country data form, the request.post, the request or the post request we are going to put in the form, okay, is going to accept it. And if the form is valid, so this validation checks for some of the things we specify in our model. So for instance, we said the max length should be 100. So if it is beyond 100, then this form validation method over here is going to make sure that it is enforced. Okay, now if everything is okay, then it's going to save it, else we just want to render the form as it is. So what I can do next over here is to pass in the variable form. So I have form in my context dictionary over here. So what I can do is I can come into my index.html. Then since form is some kind of data, I can do form like this over here. So when I refresh, you definitely have this form over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a button over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put out the input of type submit, and I'm going to say add for the text, and I'm going to add some bootstrap classes over here. So I'm going to say btn success, and I'm going to say btn dash block. All right, so when I save this and come back to come and refresh, we have this over here, but we also need to style things up over here. Now this is going to work. We can add in let's say Germany, and add in Germany, and the population of Germany is around 83 million. So when I click on save, okay, now we have a problem over here, but then this is quite expected. It says Csrf verification failed, and this an essential security feature Django enforces us. So just before the form, we need to pass in a Csrf token. So we simply have to do Csrf underscore token over here. So when I save this and come back, let me refresh this. Okay, so let me type in Germany. I have Germany over here, and the population is around 83 million. So when I click on add, now we have Germany added over here. So clearly things are working out over here. So the only thing left is for us to style this, and we are going to use a third-party application called Django Crispy Forms. So Crispy Forms is going to help us with this work. So this is the official website for Crispy Forms. I'll leave the link in the description. So I'll click on installation, and the first thing you need to do, if this is the first time you are dealing with this, you need to run a pip install Django Crispy Forms as you have it over here. But then I already have it installed, so I'm quickly going to jump into the next thing I need to do. Then I need to inform my project that I'm going to use this. So inside installed apps, I need to copy this and paste it over there. So I'm going to go into settings.py, then inside installed apps, I need to come and paste this over here. Then the next step is to grab this, Ctrl+C, come in here and paste it anywhere inside settings.py. So I'll paste it over here, but then I'm going to change this to Bootstrap because that's what I'm using. I'm using Bootstrap 4. Then the last two steps we need to do is to come here and grab in this, so the load crispy form tag, and this is going to go into our index.html. So this is where we want to load the crispy forms tag, and as far as this is concerned, we just have to apply a filter over here and we type in crispy on the form. So when I save this and come back over here, when I refresh, we have this neatly styled over here. So in order to finally test it, we can see France, and the population of France is around 67 million. So when I add France over here, and I have France added here, okay, now you can see that we are clearly having some problems over here. Whenever you add data into what we have over here and we try refreshing, we see this pop-up over here. Now when we click on continue, it is going to add the data again, and that's not what we want. We certainly also don't want to have this France being stacked over here, and that's simply because we need to go back into our views, and inside our views, inside Django.shortcuts, this render has already been imported for us, and we need to import redirects. And after saving our form, okay, as we have it over here, I want to return, I want to redirect, and this time around I want to go into our home page. So for the purpose of this demonstration, for the home page, you can just do this, the /, and that is all. So when I come back here and come and refresh, now we are good to go. So now let's add in one other country. So for the other country, let's add in Ivory Coast, our neighbors here in Ghana. So Ivory Coast, and their population is around 25 million. So when I click on add, now we have Ivory Coast being added over here, and we don't seem to have any problem. Now when I click on refresh, we don't have that pop-up over there. So that was it. Yeah, so basically this is a great start to visualize data for web applications, and the application of some of these libraries are endless. So basically this is just a brief introduction. In subsequent videos, I'm going to create bigger applications where we are going to integrate some of these things over here. Now if you find this tutorial very interesting, there are a couple of ways you can help me grow my channel. Kindly subscribe to KenBroTech and share this video with family and friends who find this content very useful. At KenBroTech, we say learn programming, you can do it. Bye bye.